My name's Ron. This is my Ferrari 430 Scuderia, and I'm standing on the floor inside of my engine bay. I'm about to take the clutch off, the original clutch, which has almost 20,000 miles on it. And hopefully you can see I'm wearing a headlight that's going to hopefully shine enough light where I'm working that you can see. And first thing we need to do is remove the 9 5mm hex head screws around the edge. Using the clutch alignment tool, pop that in first, all the way into the pilot bearing, and you can feel it spin there. Okay, that just keeps things in place. Also, just for reference purposes, in case I need it, I'm going to mark a little mark of where everything's at relative to things. Pressure plate, relative to the flywheel. Got a gold marker here relative to the case. And that'll do me for there. As I said, 5mm hex. I love this little 1/4" drive, long bar, mini head ratchet. It works great. I've already broken some of these free, but here's one that's not broken yet. I put it in there, give a little push, and there it is, broke. And next one. Next one.
Next. Easy to pick up. That one's already broken. Okay. Then to make this quick, I will use my gun.
And we have 5mm on there. Squeeze up. Get it in right. Alright, everything's loose. Let's try taking it out. Taking off this whole thing. Nice and smooth. A first look. I'm no expert at this. Get more light on there. All right, put that aside. Let's take a look here. Bring the camera down for a second and try to take a look at what we can see here. There's the flywheel. Here's the step up. We'll see what we can get, what it looks like when we pull it out. But now I've got to undo all those. I can pull that out. Pilot bearing is right there. That should be able to be pulled without taking off the flywheel. But as I said, I want to replace the main seal, so that's coming off too. So let's set this camera back up. I think that's the same spot. And now I'm going to use my heavy impact gun. Try this on those bolts down there. Those bolts are 17mm. Now this has a 3-speed, 3 power. I'm going to put it on high to start on the first one. Right up top. Let me get it on there, and off it comes like a charm. Like a charm. And just keep it from falling. And there we go. Now, put the gun back down. Here's the flywheel washer. And off comes the flywheel. So, without trying to shine the light in the camera too much, this flywheel has teeth 100% of the way around, it looks like. There is no gap like I've seen in other videos for, I think, 360. But there's the mark I put on it. and we'll talk about getting it resurfaced. Okay, I'm going to put that aside. That's not my mark, that's my mark. Now, move the camera again, get a better shot of the main seal around here, and then here is the pilot bearing, and that can be pulled out hopefully pretty easily with the slide hammer. We'll do that and clean things up. Alright, so just an update on the flywheel here. On the other side there's another set of teeth, which does have a cutout. I said earlier that there wasn't any cutout in the teeth, but it's this other set of teeth that does have the cutout. That mark wasn't my mark. That was my mark over there. And so it's important to reference the proper position of the flywheel if you're reusing the flywheel. So anyway, I just took my flywheel to a flywheel refinisher, and he said he wouldn't take my money, that he thought it was too good to bother touching. So that's the news on that. But he also confirmed it's a two-step flywheel, so that when they do refinish it, if they do, they have to refinish and take off a little bit, the same amount off of this level that they do from this level, so that the pressure plate and the clutch maintain a relative distance the same. Anyway, that's the update. And I'm about to remove the pilot bearing and the rear main seal off the engine after I've just taken off the flywheel. Well, last night. Now, first I'll show you with the alignment tool here. Put it in the pilot bearing and spin it, and it spins okay. It's not noisy, not loose, but that's what it is. It also sticks out, bearing proud about 5 millimeters is what I guessed there, what I measured from the face where the flywheel attaches. So we're going to use a bearing puller, sticking that in there. Standard cheap Amazon bearing puller kit. Stick it in there. Once you put it in there, you screw that in, and that opens that up and grabs it from the inside. So do it here-ish, and get the wrenches. Tighten this up a bit. Awkward here, but we can do it. Right now I'm standing outside the engine bay. Might be a little bit easier if I were inside. That feels pretty darn tight to me. Attach the slide hammer. And let's hope this goes as smooth as everything else has. Okay, ready? I'm seeing nothing yet. There we go, popped. And there it's out. There's the old pilot bearing. Looks okay to me. Set that aside. Now, the rear main seal. That I understand you pick at to get it at. So, get it out. So I've got a few picks and I'm going to climb in the engine bay. And we're going to grab at it what we can with. We've got some big picks, some small picks, gasket picks, all kinds of picks here. Let's get down here a little lower. doesn't seem to want to grab it. Alright, so picking up, after a moment of picking at it, the old seal, with my various picks here, try and couple, I was able to get between the flywheel attachment and the inside of the seal and pick at it. That was pretty soft in there. And then I got my grabber here in there, just grabbed it, a little twist, and popped right out. And so there's the old seal. Popped right out. No mess, no fuss. Looks pretty good. So we're going to put in the new seal. Let me wipe it down real quick. Press in the new seal with the special tool I have. Now I also see this here. Aha. Which I'm sure is part of the seal. A spring-like material. And let me show you the new seal. Comes with this plastic ring to protect it. And there it is, and inside there is that spring. Inside there. That's the new seal. Alright, let's put that on. Got a little fresh oil over here. I'm just going to rub a little bit around the outside of that. Position it in there. Careful there. There we go. Alright, to press that in, we're going to use the hill tool and do it properly. Alright, restarting the video. Installing the main rear seal, and it turns out we got to put these Hill Engineering ST2 tool studs in the right holes, because as I'm pretty sure one of these holes is offset and it goes in the proper way. So you can see now it fits nice and smooth on there with the 4 bolts in there. I'm putting that up firm, applying on these nuts here, and I'm going to tighten this up till it bottoms out basically, because the old seal was seated in there all the way. Okay. And see where we're at. You know what? Alright, so I got the seal, rear main seal, where I wanted it, and where it looks good, just inside flush with the block here. And even before I put the pilot bearing back in, I'm dry fitting the washer, the flywheel washer, with all 8 bolts, because it goes in one direction and one direction only. So you want to dry fit that first and know what you're doing before you put it together while you're holding the flywheel up there. Okay. Okay, so now time to put the pilot bearing in. I have the new one right here. A little bit of fresh oil around the edge. Just a touch. And there's a seat as to how far it can go in, so that's as far as it's going to go in. So get it in there as straight as I can. Get a rubber mallet. like this, and I could see it's almost seated here. There you go. Any more, I would hit it with a ring around there, but that is in there. Check this out with this, and we're good. All right, now we're gonna insert or install the flywheel. We're actually gonna put that on there. Almost in place. Put the washer up there. Almost in place. First bolt. No Loctite, no reference to it in the service manual. So we'll start that up. Not actually touching it, that one did, but go on the weakest torque. Alright. Now we'll get the torque wrench on this. 17 millimeter nuts, bolts, excuse me, using a torque wrench and 91 Newton meters, which is about 67 foot-pounds, which this torque wrench is set to. Now you got to get the flywheel to be locked in place, although I don't know that it's going to move, but we'll do that with something like this crowbar here. Hopefully I can sort of get it nice and cleanly in there. That it will also not want to go downwards. Maybe something like that. And we'll try one of these here. To be held. Okay, that's one. Two. And I will continue around. Right, flywheel's all torqued up, 91 Newton meters all around. Double check that a couple times just to make sure. And now I'm about to install the new clutch. Pressure plate assembly. So, got my clutch alignment tool, which had a threaded hole in there, so I put a bolt in there just to have it there. You'll see. Okay, so that's in the pilot bearing now, spinning. And I'm going to put my new clutch right on that clutch alignment tool. Knowing first that my flywheel heavy mark is down here near the tube, and the mark on the new clutch for its heavy spot should be diametrically opposed. There it is. Well, it can't be exactly diametrically opposed because the set of 9 screws have to line up with whatever screws holes are on that flywheel. So have to be able to do that. And a couple of choices there. So if I let it go here, you'll see gravity takes it down to its heavy point. And it's actually a little bit off from that mark. A little bit more in this direction. So I'm not sure if the cameras see that, but it's more here. And opposite of there is more like that, which is actually where the holes line up. So that's where it's going. I've got my 9 bolts. Hex, 5mm. We'll start them up and then we go around in a star pattern or whatever you want to call it. Hopping back and forth to tighten these up so it goes in evenly. Alright, I wanted to show the workshop manual and how it shows the sequence to tighten these bolts, both first hand tighten and then to tighten them to spec at 18 Newton meters. And so I am going to follow that to the T. So back on my knees. I'm pretty much hand tight now, so I'm going to go around and tighten these starting from 147. So 147. 1, 4, 7, 2, 5, 8. Try that again. 3, 6, and 9. Amazing how quickly they get loose there. Okay. One, 4, 8, 2, 5, 9, 3, 6. There we go.